I spoke to all 4 boys yesterday, and it's easily the hardest day of my coaching career. But I can understand, I can empathise the disappointment and the emotion that's involved.
The end comes in many different ways, but few as sharp as this on the 360 agenda. The savage rue-cull that shook the football world as North Melbourne declares the end of an era. Matthew Pavlich calls his own time one more date for the greatest docker who's going through football's last rites. And Tom Lonergan approaches a harrowing milestone with a sense of purpose and mission to match his courage and dedication. I'm Gerard Whateley, he's David King. This Wednesday night it's footy from all angles, but one in particular. David, welcome.
Gerard, how are you?
There are days that test your faith in a football club and of those of a North Melbourne persuasion. I'm sure you'll be representing a good portion of them tonight.
A lot of phone calls today, Gerard. A lot of phone calls from North Melbourne rusted-on fans that are shattered. It probably always happens at the end of a career like Brent's, that there's disappointment at the end that it's finally over. But I'm just not sure why that's the case, and I can't wait to talk to you about it. You'll probably have a different view than mine. I'm sure Sellers will have a different view than mine. But from what I've seen, I just don't think that there was the need to do this, given what we've seen the last month or so.
All right, we'll work through it from every angle as we go. But we want to start on an upswing. Yep. A Wednesday love.
Well, I had a good look at the Essendon Football Club season today, and I just love what John Worsfold's been able to do for the club in totality. I know they've only won the 2 games, but this is a team that was meant to lose every game by 20 goals. They were meant to have the poorest year since the Fitzroy days, Gerard, and it's been far from that. I mean, I did their game last weekend. They've found some young players. They've found some stars on the rise that are being assessed like they're contending for a finals campaign, and they're not. They're miles from that. They've achieved everything they wanted to achieve away from that. They've signed almost the full lot of players that are serving a penalty at the moment. And I just think it's been an outstanding success. He's done a fantastic job, John Worsfold. He's let us in for the ride. He's been positive right the way through. And I just think sometimes we look at the 2-win season. I know they got Carlton on the weekend. That's a winnable game, but it doesn't really matter. This year's been a success for Essendon.
There's been a sense of purpose where there might have just been sort of morose.
What about yours?
Discussion.
What's your love today?
Eddie Betts has been my love all week from the deeds on the football field, but the class and grace and dignity with which he's carried himself, but the leadership that he displayed today in his regular segment on 5AA in Adelaide.
She came out and she apologised. I don't hold grudges. I forgive her for what she's done, and I think everyone else should as well. She's seeking help, and it's never too late to learn. I just hope that everyone out there that don't just let it be in peace now. I guess go on into life with peace, because I know she's got a lot of abusing messages on social media and all that. So, like I said, I've forgiven her, and so should all of you.
There's an opportunity to learn in these moments. You need somebody to offer the guide, and quite often it is the victim.
Yeah, they're the biggest figure always in this, aren't they? He was always going to do that. He was always going to handle it well. He's such a great entertainer on the field, but the way he carries himself off, I think he's understated and undersold with Eddie. And
he told his story to Robbo earlier in the year about what he's lived through and where he's got himself, and you look and you see a mature man, a proud man, father, husband, and a community leader. I think that's what he's shown himself to be, beyond the sheer joy that he provides us every week on the field.
And he'll do that message post-football as well. I think he's a great ambassador for our code. And I think there's many that wish he was just at Carlton. There's the big man who sits there.
Oh, you're not going to start with that, are you?
He will do it again tonight. You know he will.
All right. The agenda is topped and dominated by the events at North Melbourne today, the decisions that have been taken and the bringing on of the bitter end.
It's a heartbreaking decision, and I can assure everyone a decision that wasn't taken lightly.
Off the hands to Harvey, and he goes to Del Santo, and he kicks a goal.
All 4 of the boys that I've been talking to made it very clear to me that they wanted a decision made. They didn't want the uncertainty.
Uses Harvey off a step from 48 metres, tumbles it towards Petrie. It sits in his lap and he goes.
they're all very, very disappointed. Very disappointed, and understandably so. They're all playing at a really high level.
Blows it long, hits goal square, front spot for Rito. Shows some poise.
Completely understand that all four of the guys know that they're really integral members of our team right here, right now, and that they would all be capable of playing some really good footy in 2017. But the decision's been made with the best interests of the football club at heart. And if 2017 was going to be the last year on earth, we know those four boys would make a contribution to us next year. But the future is longer than that, and we needed to make this decision in the best interest of North Melbourne's future.
Brent Harvey again has proven today why he has to go on and play again next year. I mean, it's extraordinary to think of somebody at that age, but he just has to.
But what I'd rather focus on personally is the legacy he's going to leave. And his legacy will be unrivalled. There's no person, whether it be a player, coach, administrator, who will leave a better legacy for North Melbourne Football Club than Brent Harvey, bar none. And we've worked really hard to protect that legacy and put a moat around that legacy and make it an enduring one.
So that's how it unfolded. It happened suddenly just before noon, and rather shockingly that it would be a group cull as such. So the first angle, David, is the flinch reaction. You played for that club for, 11 years and more than 240 games and in 2 premierships. So this goes right to the heart, as it does for every North Melbourne fan. What was your flinch reaction?
Look, I love Boomer. I know him really well. He's a great teammate and a great person. I just thought, why? I felt like Brad Scott had shot Bambi today. This is a club that has ridden the journey with Brent this year pretty significantly. It was a huge milestone, the 428th game. And it just, to me, smacks of James McDonald exiting Melbourne. There's really no need. Off-field, he's a star. He's diligent in his preparation. He's a real leader. He's a role model. He's one that they attach the young kids to when they walk in the door. And on-field, barring 3 or 4 quiet weeks in the midpoint of the season, which everyone at that club's had, not just Brent, the whole club has had that. So there's not a player that's immune from that. He's been fantastic. I mean, he's averaging 21 disposals this year again. He's kicked 34 goals. His best ever is only 36 in a season. So he'll get that. He's a couple of goals off that. So in terms of what he has delivered on field, there's no question there. So why the need? I understand that there's a lot of ageing players at the Kangaroos, but I just don't see the need. I really don't. And I think the cultural influence of the 4 of them, particularly the 3, because I think Del Santo's a separate body, because he's a purpose-picked player. But the other 3 have set the culture of that place for the best part of a decade. So it is a big loss for the club. But the Brent Harvey one, it just baffles me, Jared. It really does.
All right, we'll dig a little bit there as we go. The strategy. The players pushed very hard for an answer, and I think, as I understand it, Harvey was at the forefront of that. He really did want to know. He probably thought the decision was coming back the other way, but he wanted to know ahead of this last home and away game in Melbourne. The strategy fascinates me on a couple of fronts. Is you want to farewell your greats in better circumstances than that. You actually want them sitting at some form of press conference, I think, and speaking. And I think in a couple of instances they were either too emotional, too upset or too angry to speak today, which is, I think, a regrettable way for it to finish. They are also going into round 23 with a final series a fortnight away. And while this season has been sliding away, 2-8 in the past couple of weeks, is the holding line has been, no, we still believe. And in a way, Saturday provided the greatest test case of belief, being close to Sydney and probably believing as they got on the plane that they might have won. I don't know what this looks like within the playing group. I don't know what this looks like come Saturday, and I don't know what it looks like in an elimination final, which is a game that they might feel like they can win.
Well, you say that, but I get the feeling you do know what it looks like. You're telling the players one thing, and then you're walking out the door and telling the media a totally different story. We can win the flag. We can get to a final series. We've been to a prelim before. We've got to take one more step to get to the big dance. And you walk outside the door and tell the media you're looking to some sort of rebuild, some sort of regeneration. It's a complete mess, Jared. It's a mess on 2 fronts. If they made the decision 4 weeks ago, you sit back and you say, OK, how do we do this, boys? How do we do this with the class that you guys deserve? Matthew Pavlich style. Okay, do you need to take round 22 off so that we can get you ready to compete in round 23 where you can come out, Drew, and you can have a fantastic game? Mick Ferrito can do what he's done for a long period of time, best part of a decade down back. Give Del Santo a freshen up. Or you don't, you go the other way. And you wait till now, but you can't tell them in the week of round 23. If you've come to this point, you say, we haven't made our decision yet. You nearly have to lie to them. You nearly have to say, what happens if we win 3 finals? We change our decision, Brent. Things move. It's a movable piece. Where maybe 60-40, you're out at this stage, but it might be 80-20 the other way in 3 weeks' time. We just can't tell you now. You can't buckle from that, because as soon as you do, this is what happens. You end up moving on some stars in a tweeted press statement that says, we've decided to not recontract X, Y and Z. That's a statement for a delisted rookie. That's not a statement for a games record holder and 2 players who've given their heart and soul for the best part of a decade.
And you've made the observation in the Herald Sun piece, which has been posted tonight, that you can't avoid the comparison to yesterday where Collingwood staged Dane Swan Day.
They did, and look, it's probably not... It's a little bit dissimilar because that's a retirement of an injured player and a club not making the finals. But at some point, we needed to see those guys on their own terms in front of the camera and let us in. Tell us how the finish is going to come and basically let us celebrate as fans. Don't say, quick, get yourselves organised for Saturday and get down to Etihad and clap these guys. That's an unrealistic expectation. That's not going to happen. And what if it does? So what if they get 2,000 more people to the game, 5,000 more people to the game? So what? You get one chance to exit your stars, and I feel they've made a meal of it.
Okay. The cold, hard decisions, so one at a time, and start with Del Santo because he's in his 3rd year there. He was brought in to see what they could push to. They pushed to 2 preliminary finals and he was instrumental in that. He's played 60 games. He's only missed the 1 this year. His numbers are still superficially okay, 24 and a half a game. He's posted more than 25 disposals on 10 occasions. He has looked at moments like the end is at least close.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And I think that he's wise enough to know that and to probably see that coming. His contested numbers really dropped away this year. It's his lowest average since 08. But I'd rather celebrate what he was. Look, he was a fantastic ball user. He's exactly what the Kangaroos needed when they got him. They need someone to help Harvey and Wells on the outside. And he was that. And they just fell short. They maybe didn't have collectively the best couple of finals in those prelims that could get them to that next port. But he was a perfect selection. He served his purpose. He's exactly what our competition needs. The ability to get a free agent for a 3 to 4 year window and try and capitalise. It didn't quite happen.
Is it the right decision to wind him up?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And I think Dal may not see that right now, but give it a month or so. And he will. I don't think there'll be much interest from another club now. I think that's it for Del.
Michael Ferrito's coming to the end of his 14th season. He's only missed 1 game this year. The first part of his season when North were going well, he was probably a bedrock to that. You might be able to trace it to the night that he went the knuckle against Hawthorn and things have never quite been the same since.
He's looked grumpy ever since. It worked for him that night, but he's looked off, hasn't he? But look, to be honest, I thought Mick Ferrito was gone 2 years ago. And I thought that he'd been a fantastic servant, put a dozen years of football together, straight from Box Hill from the VFA, started as a tagging midfielder, ended up as a rock-solid defender, an attacking aggressive half-back flank, centre-half-back type. Love what he's done. He's a top 10 player in the history of the Kangaroos, 273 games. Fantastic. So he's done a great job. His last 2 years, how he's put that together, I don't know. So it is time for Michael, and I think that he's one of those players that's created a culture. He's just a lovable teammate, and I think that he's been a warrior for the football club.
So that's the right decision?
Right decision, definitely. I think Michael would appreciate that too.
Drew Petrie went through the 300-game milestone this year. He's played every game. He's only kicked 27 goals. So over the past 5 years, he'd been averaging 49 goals. His marking numbers are down. And I think by his own estimate, he's not the player that he had been. They still... As Brad said today, wherever they had a hole, they still moved him and he could do a job, but it looked like his days were numbered.
Will be under-recognised as a contributor for the Kangaroos or as a centre-half forward target. You'll never rank him up there with the greats. He'll always be on that next rung or the rung below that in order of where he sits in the centre-half forwards. But the bottom line is he's played 314 games. It's a huge number, second most of the Kangaroos. He's fought most of those games against 2 opponents, if not 3. because of the penchant to have a loose man there for a while under Brad Scott. I just think he's been a sensational player. He's shown glimpses this year. And I still believe, when I watch Drew move, that he's got a 5-goal quarter in him. He has got one of those patches that he just can light a game up. But I've seen those games where he looked slow, where he looked like he didn't have a second effort. So maybe that's the sign, maybe that's the cue, maybe it is time, maybe it's 10 games too early. I don't know, but I think you've seen it with Drew, and Drew would probably recognise that again, not right now, but in 5 to 6 weeks' time.
So on the balance of probabilities, you think this is the right call?
Yeah, I do. And it's been a fantastic career, and there's no point saying, he's done, because he still may have a big patch in him, but not the game anymore, just the patch.
The record breaker is the special case, and all aren't equal in football, and certainly not when it comes to Brent Harvey. Now, he's played the year as a half forward, and he's held his numbers together. He's right on his career average of 21 a game.
Yeah.
He's kicked 34 goals.
Yeah.
He doesn't take anybody's place in the midfield, but there have been moments when games that have needed to be won that he's been able to assert himself. He's coming off a game where, if he wasn't North's best, he was certainly in their best 2 on the weekend. I think most people think this is the wrong call.
I do. I think it's the wrong call. And I just don't think there's a hurry to rush these guys out of your football club.
So you do it if a veteran is a liability, if he won't do what the game plan demands and the coach can see that it opens holes in what you're trying to do, or you do it if you're absolutely holding back players. So if you use the Steve Johnson example, how do you get Menzel, McCarthy and Cockatoo into the team if Johnson's the fixture? I think it's harder to come up with the list of those players. Who is Harvey keeping out?
Well, the AFLPA did an under-22 team, Jared, and the Kangaroos didn't have a representative in that. Not one. That's a damning stat or a damning guide. I think what Brent Harvey is hard to replace. There's not many in the competition that get 20 disposals a week on average and kick you a goal a game. As you said, he's kicked 34 this year. They're hard to find, Jared. And I'm just wondering why the push has come for a Del Sano and a Harvey when a Nahas and a Ray are getting opportunities for 15 to 20 games this year. Why is it Boomer's position? Why is that the one that needs a young fella in it? That baffles me. I'm just not sure whether he's seen as on the inside as what we see him externally. We see what he does. And I think sometimes when you're internal at a football club, you see what they don't do. And I think he's been a victim of that. Yes, it may be time to turn the page. It may be time to move on. But I guarantee you, there'll be 4 or 5 clubs that just make a phone call to Brent Harvey.
Just to be sure?
Just to be sure. You're absolutely, definitely hanging the boots up. Having a look at what Steve Johnson's done up north. He's a role model citizen off the field. There's no question there. He's a diligent trainer. He's an absolutely meticulous planner with what he eats and what he does physically. So there's nothing left short in that sense. On field, I mean, last weekend, if the decision wasn't made 3 weeks ago, Jared, it couldn't have been made after last week or the week before. So why now?
So he was either at the mercy of he had a stretch of poor games at exactly the wrong moment, or he was at the mercy of the win-loss column for North Melbourne as they learnt where their true place was.
Yeah, and that is arguable, and that's ultimately Brad's decision. But gee, it's been a short period at the top. I mean, 2 prelims, and then the first 9 they win this year, and then all of a sudden, from that point forward, it's back to a rebuild.
So this is where it takes us to the future. So we should. James Brayshaw, the chairman, has declared the terms of this, and frankly, for a team going into a final series, that they've pulled the shutters down on the era.
We were coming to the end of a strategic period, a footy strategy period. It was a pretty successful one too. We played in 2 prelims. This is going to be the 4th final series in that time. But then, from a board down to the footy department, all we said is, well, where are we going from here? What do the next 5 years look like? And as Chief said, and I agree with him, I think we needed to pretty aggressively reset to give our club the best chance of playing in and winning its 5th premiership.
Well, he's probably right. We can't argue that. We can't argue the facts. They made 2 prelims, but I'm more of a believer of the home and away form, Jared. To be a realistic premiership contender, you need to be finishing top 4.
So they've been extremely consistent during the Brad Scott years, right from the very start of it. So this was Brent Harvey's dad, who was feeling it deeply today. He spoke to Robbo during the middle of the day and had just had the conversation with Boomer. And yes, it is the stop bull dusting was what he said to his son when he rang. The stats on North Melbourne's build and where they sat, so they could never become the top 4 team in the home and away to create the best possible chance at the finals.
Yeah, and I think that to say it's been a super successful period or a real successful period, these stats probably belie that. To have finished no higher than 6th in the home and away, and that's the marathon. That's the marathon that is 22 home and away games, and Brad hasn't achieved that. And I'm looking to the future and I'm thinking, well, if this is a rebuild, are they the sorts of figures that stamp you as the man who's got the answers? Is Brad Scott definitely the man to take them forward to the promised land on the back of those numbers there? I'm not sure I can say yes. Now, I watch the Kangaroos closer than most, and I'm more critical of the Kangaroos than any other club because I've got a vested interest in them. I want to see them go well. But on those figures there, why are the Kangaroos absolutely prepared to say it's a rebuild, let's go down this path again and subject themselves to probably another 3 to 4 year rebuild? Or a fast-tracking regeneration, whatever the words are used today.
The aggressive reset.
Aggressive reset.
The aggressive is Brayshaw spoke about the draft and the need to go to the draft, and Brad Scott spoke about still absolutely being in the free agent market, which I think that's a difficult line to walk, I reckon, right now, having made the moves that they have. I am interested do you think North Melbourne can front up with Jared Waite there and Brent Harvey not?
I can't work that out. That would stagger me. I'm interested to see who they get as a free agent. I wrote rather cheekily in the Herald Sun tonight, Jared, that if you're looking for someone who averages 20 disposals, can kick 30 plus goals a year, be the best inside 50 kick that the game's ever seen, he's just walked out the door. Don't bother going and getting a 25-year-old version of him or trying to find a 27-year-old. That is him. That is what he does. Don't sort of undersell or make sure you recognise what's walking out the door right now, because he's a pretty special player. And the only flaw in his makeup right now is his birth certificate. And I think that if you can get past that, then what's the other negative? What's the detracting factor? I'm not actually sure.
It is a motive. There's no question about that. What happens this weekend is, can a group come together? Can you come together in spite of the circumstances and go, we'll do this for us, and then how you? I mean, they're going to have a winnable elimination final in theory, on the finals team they have become. They'll either, in just the two most likely scenarios.
What are they, Jared?
They're the Giants, who have never played a final.
Yep.
Or the Bulldogs, who they have a 1-1 record with in Melbourne. Is at face value, walking into that elimination final, you would say they have a definite chance. They'd be a near 50-50 thing against the Bulldogs, given the way they've been banged up. And they'd be underdogs against the Giants. But we've seen teams in their very first final who've had good home and away seasons not be able to handle that occasion. And North Melbourne's exactly the sort of team to prey on that.
Isn't the president and the coach telling us we're not good enough?
I think that is the difficulty in the way today's unfolded, sort of separate to what your view is on the decisions.
And that you 4 guys aren't taking us forward, but we need you to be great players for us on Saturday. And we need you to be great in a fortnight's time. I'm just confused, and I think that's why I say this is a mess. This is a mess to be doing it the Wednesday prior to round 23.
Okay.
And we've got an extra week in the middle now to labour this point even more. I mean, how are they going to be feeling?
And every question is going to be on this topic, quite rightly, because it's the central question to how they're going to perform on the field.
Yeah.
So I suspect Bomber and Sellers will have hugely differing views
and that's
on
okay.
this.
That's okay.
And we'll add them to the mix. As a captain who got sacked by his club and as a coach who's sort of been through these and is very strong that Geelong should have held on to what they had. So
the
we'll bring them into the mix
decision,
shortly.
though.
Yes.
That's fine. I just think the way that it's been handled, you look at Dane Swan, as we said on Tuesday, and the Brent Harvey getting 3 paragraphs in a press statement. They're poles apart, Jerry. Poles apart.
The blessing of calling your own time is on display at Fremantle at the moment. Matthew Pavlich has, he probably played on one more year than maybe was intended at a period of time at the end of last year. He's found the purpose in it, he's found the satisfaction in it, he's got 1 day left of it.
And in a lot of ways, I am fulfilled, I am content. I walk away knowing that I don't have any regrets, and that the next phase of my life I've learnt so much, so many lessons, so many experiences, but I can walk away knowing that there's not 1 ounce of energy left towards football that I could give. I understand sort of the significant role that I've played at this football club, and really that's all that a player can ask, that the legacy endures, and it's left up to the individuals now in the room to really drive that and take it and make it their own. I stand here thinking that I couldn't have given anything more to this career, I couldn't give anything more to this football club.
He is the greatest Docker. He's been such a dynamic figure over a lot of years now. There hasn't been a lot of purpose to Fremantle for the past 6 or 8 weeks, but there will be on Sunday. And whether it manifests in the way that they play or whether it manifests in the way that they see him off at the end, that's 15 minutes at the end of a game, right at the end of a home and away season, that you won't want to miss.
Is he the greatest West Australian performer? I know he's a South Australian playing in West Australia, but is he the greatest?
Yeah, certainly for longevity.
For durability. Look, 353 games. It's 100 more than the second-ranked player at Fremantle, which is David Mundy. That's a big gap.
Yeah.
And Cox finished at 290.
Yeah, so the only West Australian-based player to reach 300 games, which speaks
it's a big
to
number.
a lot.
Big number with the travel thrown in. He's been All-Australian in virtually every position. You just name him if you like. But he's been a sensational player, a great ambassador for our game. He'd be an instant walk-up Hall of Fame.
I was thinking, when his portfolio lands on that desk in 5 years' time, it'll be the shortest conversation they have. It'll just get stamped in next. Who are we dealing with?
Harvey's or Pavlich get stamped first?
Yes.
There's two gone.
Good question, yeah.
Good luck in 5 years.
4 spots there. Be careful if you're thinking of retiring. Eke 1 more year out. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, it'll be... and the emotion around that is the Dockers fans haven't had much to emotionally invest in virtually all of this year.
No.
That's a moment that you want to be part of.
I'll tell you what, they want to put up some sort of performance on Sunday for Matty Pavlich. I think they've been a really poor club this year, really poorly performed team. If they want to show 1 ounce of respect to this man, they want to put up a performance on Sunday afternoon that is Matthew Pavlich like.
An eventful day in footy. Bomber Thompson and Mark McClure in next to dissect Alpha their views, and we'll broaden out the conversation as well, heading towards round 23.
A moment ago, almost a second one. Round the Flamingo that throws in the net. Eddie! No, he did it! Eddie sealed the deal with an amazing goal. No, he did not. In towards where Walker got a Betts on the pocket. Betts! Got it. Eddie! In 250, you have 5.
So Jenkins inside 50. Jacobs is dangerous. Walker off the back. Eddie Betts, the number 5. Oh, he's done it, Eddie! He has done it!
Jacobs down there, Walker's down there. Eddie! Eddie Betts, the Pied Piper of Adelaide, in game 250, has the final say. Not in my house.
Well, he's a freak. His son said he'd kick 5. Who's going to know him better than his son Louis?
Glorious Eddie Betts. Bomber Thompson, welcome.
Welcome to you, Jared. Back.
Nice to be back. Mark McClure, hello.
Haven't got the Zika, have you?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
Can't wait for Robbo to get back from Rio, actually.
Where's Zika?
He's been in Rio.
I thought he's been up at a health farm, hasn't he, or something?
No. Does that break your heart, watching that vision, Eddie Betts?
Oh, absolutely, it does. No, I actually love watching Eddie. I mean, he's moved on to a better place, and you can see that with the amount of goals he's kicked. He's going to kick... He could probably get 70-something this year, which is an amazing number for a small forward. And he's a freak. But I love watching him play. I'm very proud of him, to tell you the truth. He couldn't be any more prouder. He's made his own decisions. He's went where he wanted to go. And what did Carlton get for him? Naught. Thanks.
Naught.
It was a really good deal.
Wasn't a great trade.
One of our great deals. We got North and they got something special.
Who did that deal?
I got no idea. Don't ask.
Don't open those wounds.
Don't open
He'll
the
be a
wounds.
central figure at the Adelaide Oval.
Someone that didn't like forwards.
Adelaide and West Coast. So the Eagles have to work out how to get around Natanui from here, which is something they've confronted at various stages through the year, but they finally looked like the team when he was there. How does Adam Simpson approach this?
I think, to be upfront, honest, they can't replace him, can they? They can't even pretend to try and replace him. He's the guy that won in the game against GWS, last kick of the day, and he's a premier ruckman in the competition. He drives so much of their ball, their clearances work, contested ball work, so he's going to be very hard to replaase. Excuses.
Crazy theories are welcome here.
He's got to tell a story, though. He's got to sell a story. He has to.
Who's going to believe it? Who's going to
Probably
believe
you
it?
won't, but someone
you wouldn't either.
Well, I wouldn't either.
If you're
but,
playing.
hey, listen, but you've got to sell hope. That's the key. And they're going to Adelaide in good form. They were sensational last week. Their forward line's huge. Darling and Kennedy were just magnificent in the way they can jump and leap. And set down there helps them, but he's not going to be there anymore. He's going to be in the ruck. So they've got some things to sell. Their defensive, McGovern down back, who intercept marks, is just magnificent the way they do that. And their centre line, Pritis was good, Gaff was good, Shuey was outstanding.
They're boring without him, though. Without Nick Nat. The X factor, isn't it, all over?
I understand all that, but we can't give up. There's no good give up.
The 6
we
weeks.
give up, never won a race.
We have to coach him.
The 6 weeks, can you believe the numbers? The 6 weeks that he was out, Nick Nat, earlier in the year, they become the best team at scoring from stoppages, the differential. Yeah. That's crazy. Are they defended like Port Adelaide have done this year? Do you think they'll go back to that?
They'll have to, wouldn't they?
Lose their aggression?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Is there any other options? A wild card?
There's no wild cards here. There's no
Who's
other
your
X
wild
factor.
card?
Mine's
wild card.
Jack Darling played there last week. Obviously, he's not a ruckman. We know that. But can they get possessions out of a Jack Darling around the ground?
Yeah, but the problem is, Kingy, those blokes are so used to having him around, Nick Nat, having Darling around, they don't know whether they're going to win the tap out or win, or what to do in a big game when you sort of go back to the basics, what you know. They're just going to do the wrong thing. Okay. It won't happen for them.
What about Sloane? Sloane evens it a bit.
Hey?
Rory's okay. Rory's not a bad player. He got chopped out for a week too, so they'll miss Sloane big time in the midfield. He's a star. He had another 10 tackles again on Saturday.
Give me some of your money and I'll go and put him on West Coast this week then. How much would you put on?
What are you talking about? Where have you been today? Been out for lunch or something?
Don't ask, please.
John Segler hasn't been spoken about much this week. Hawthorn have got to find a way in the ruck as well. How significant an issue is that for them?
Well, Fitzpatrick and Pitney seem to be the two that look like the likely types, but they're not Segler. And the reason Segler plays is because these guys aren't quite up to that standard. And they need to have a good game this week. They're playing Collingwood. Collingwood aren't any pushover. When they have a really a big day and a scoring day, they only ever win when they have a really good scoring day. So if they have that, they're going to push Hawthorn. Tall forwards, get them. If they get it in there quick enough and isolate the defenders. So we'll see what happens there.
All right. The hottest topic of today is Mark Thompson. Where do you sit on the North Melbourne debate?
Well, I'm with Kingy. I'm right behind him. Kingy, you're leading the charge.
First time we've been together on something.
Really? Outrageous decision. Yeah. Well, in a week when you should be trying to be as positive as you can, when you had 9 wins in a row and you almost made the finals at that point of the season, then go poorly. But then right now, what they need to do is get up and about, and that's not great positive news, is it? It's outrageous. I reckon the coach is sometimes they've just got to coach the club, and the club, right, is bigger than this year's team performance. It's about keeping your stars and making them happy and making them superstars of the club for a long, long time. I don't know how Boomer's going to handle this. I don't think he'll go back to the club for a bit.
I hope he kicks 6 goals this week. Seriously, for me. I saw him on the plane on the way home. And he got a vote from us on the ABC for his game on the weekend for 3 goals. He was outstanding. And I said to him, "Hey, Boom, you got a contract yet?" He goes, No. I said, "Well, I'd make you captain coach." He went, I'd love that, he said. I'd love that. And I didn't know what this was going to happen today. But I hope he kicked 6 goals.
Well, you look at the Collingwood, how they took Swan out. Right, in great style, grand style. Right? It was actually an occasion, wasn't it, to get Mick and Bucks in the same room together, his dad. And then you look at Hawthorn signing their old boys up for 1 year when everyone says, they're finished, they're not going to get contracts. Class, right, smart. Then you look at the Kangaroos, who need the positive news, that need to make good decisions. That's not a good decision.
So, Sellers, you're in the school as you have to push players. In the end, you have to push them over the edge because they play forever. Where do you sit today?
Well, I don't sit with Booma Harvey being pushed. He's a club legend. He's a legend of the footy club. And is he the worst player in the competition? Is he unfit? He kicks his 35 or 36 goals a year or 40 goals a year, whatever he does. He's a good ball winner. They don't have another small forward. Lindsay Thomas is the only other one who's in that period, but he's not up to the standard of Booma. Nowhere near it. So is it a good decision? I reckon they'll turn it round. There you go. The power of the people may turn this round.
Yeah, they might too.
I think you just got to have a think about the members.
You reckon they'll reverse the decision to retire Brent Harvey?
Pressure the people,
I reckon
David.
they could. Pressure of people. He kicked 6 this week. How's the coach looking?
He kicked 3 last week and still got the flick this week.
Yeah, but I'm talking, you got to double that next week.
You got to double it, right. And what does he have to do? If that doesn't work, what does he have to do in the final? 9, right.
No, I don't
You
know
really
what
seriously think that they could reverse the decision?
A lot of things have been turned around because of people power. And I think that the members and sometimes the board, hang on, we might have made a mistake here. We just might have made a little mistake. I hope they think that way. But you do have to push him sometimes. Yeah, he's going to go out kicking and screaming when he's 43.
But you know what, Sellers, you seem to push them when they refuse to go and they're not playing well. And they're struggling to train, they're struggling to play games out. That's when you push them.
You've seen what Steve Johnson's done at GWS, Bomber.
Yeah.
If you're up at GWS and you had an involvement up there, is this the exact replica of that situation? Should they chase him?
Who?
GWS.
Oh, possibly, yes. Yeah. Well, he's kicked 36 goals, you said?
34.
34. It's a massive effort. How many people in competition have done that? 6, 7?
There'd be more than that. But it's...
The small forwards.
Yeah.
Well, probably be 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Steve Johnson's a perfect example. Stephen Johnson's a perfect example of a club not doing it right too, because he should be playing for Geelong. And they would be favourites for the flag. Coaches are just there for the time, not for the coaches got to realise, and the clubs have got to realise, the coach has just got to coach for the club. It's more important, I would have thought, for Booma to play his career and finish when he wanted to finish and be happy when he left.
So you think the Twins have got a trait?
Did you say that or me?
I just said that. Do you think the Twins have got a trait that they get rid of?
The same things happen.
Yeah, same things happen. Both blokes.
A couple of the other coaching issues is Jake Stringer. Late in the season, Luke Beveridge goes, right, go back. This is shock therapy. Go back to the VFL right now, and it's either this week or the elimination final. You're back, and I need you back at your absolute best.
Well, obviously there's a reason for it, and it's his form, and he shouldn't worry about it. I did it with Mackie once, but we lost the next match and never got to play again. So that was 2010. I didn't get to see the results of it, but I think he had a really good year. Because he'd missed out on the final, that he had a good year the following year when I'd gone.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's only one winner here, and it's going to be Luke Beveridge.
Yes.
That's it. Jakey Stringer's not going to win this one. He's either going to play to the standards he's set, or he doesn't play. And Luke's going to hold fast, I reckon, on that.
How many years
he won't move.
How many years has Stringer had? 3?
He's been there 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. No, 3 years.
3 years? 3 years, yeah. I think that most young boys have a little... They get up and they get to a point, and then they sort of happy where they're at and they drop sometimes, or sometimes they want more and they can't get it and they drop. They all have little phases, and this is a little phase that he's going through. Quality player.
He is.
Yeah.
But Luke's going to win.
He's going to win. He has to win. Yeah.
Some things are more than phases. What does Joe Danaher need to do between seasons to get his kicking issues sorted?
I just got to get become a better kick. He's got to practice it a lot, and not practice as in just having time, but quality. Yeah, quality.
Do you buy into that, Bomber? Kicking around the corner from dead in front, 15 metres out?
I don't, but obviously his confidence is shot, and he's just not confident in his routine.
Do you think he'll do that next year?
I reckon he'll become a great player. I think he'll get over that because he's got over everything else. Still kick 30-something goals.
Yeah, he's had a reasonable year.
He's had a good year.
Yeah. Do you still think he'll be snapping goals around the corner like that in 2017?
I don't think so. Not directly in front, he wouldn't. I wouldn't.
Do you reckon 30 goals is a good year for a key forward?
Like he's played 3 years in that team.
How many points?
Remember that time they wouldn't actually even kick the ball in there at one stage? Remember they took that much time to get it in there?
Who was coaching then?
It was me. No.
You saw, you're going to hand out a medal for a commendation here. You saw Cade Simpson on Sunday.
Well, I went to the footy on Sunday and courtesy of Stephen Goff and watched the footy pretty closely. This bloke is just a star. He picked 45. He's played, he's played a stack of games, 263 games. I mean, he's He's an amazing player. He's averaging 27 possessions this year, and this is the, you know, in his 15th or 14th year. He continues to play in the right manner. I love watching him play. He's a great team player. He hits the ball well. He never misses a game. He played 158 games in a row at one stage. He is just durable. He's reliable. He's trusted, and I tell you what, he's respected by all. Not just the Carlton people. Every club in Australia would want this bloke if he came available. He is a great player, but no one ever talks about him. And I just sat there at the game and went, wow, this bloke. I saw Cripps and Gibbs were sensational in the middle of the ground, you know. And I thought to myself, no, that's okay, but this bloke down back just holds them together. He's a beauty, and I hope he continues.
He's up there with Ashman and Buckley and all them boys.
Dool. Oh yeah, he's up there.
Is he?
Oh, I reckon he's sensational. Yeah. Love him. I reckon he's one of those kids. He's 75 kilos, Bob.
I know.
No, he's actually 76 this year. He put a kilo on this year.
So you could have played,
mate.
Just a quick thought before you go. We're about to talk to Tom Lonergan about what happened 10 years ago. You were in the coach's box that day. You know how grave it was.
Yes, yeah. I felt a bit bad because at the time I said to him, you know, you just got to take your turn. When you've got to go back, you've got to go back. You've got to take one for the team. It wasn't sort of that long before he did that, and it was just tragic. He nearly lost his life, the poor man, and he was just minutes from it. It was late at 3 o'clock Saturday morning in the hospital in Geelong. All the doctors are well and truly in bed, the specialists, and they called one up. He shot into the hospital and saved his life, which is it's incredible he's back playing.
He's had an incredible career as a result.
He's a good
we're
player.
about to talk to him. Very good. Good on you, Bomber. Sellers, enjoy your footy on the weekend.
Try my best.
We'll see you next week in the Gap Week. So Tom Lonergan's about to join us next to talk about the events of 10 years ago and life since.
That's just brave, and that's what people admire about some players.
Johnston just basically stagnant at half back. No free pay. Oh, it's a tough game, and there was some debris left in the wake. There's a Geelong player down.
Lonergan, great courage. Wonderful courage.
They were left one short. You can see why. Lonergan just
no fear there.
Some people have got it in them to do it, and he certainly went. And, you know, he's off to hospital now, but you know, fingers crossed he'll be okay. But he'll be admired for what he did today.
And admired even more to this very day. Tom Lonergan with the events of 10 years ago, reliving it and committing himself absolutely to a cause. He's with us down at Geelong. Tom, welcome to AFL 360.
G'day guys, how you going?
I imagine it's something that you live with, but have you been left to think about it and talk about it and reflect on it perhaps more so than in many years?
I guess I've been reflecting on the occasion for the last few weeks. I looked at the draw probably about 6 or 7 weeks ago and realised that we played Melbourne in the last round, which is happens to fall on the exact same date that of the day I was injured. So it was a bit eerie, I guess, in a sense, to see that. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it's great to be able to support a couple of charities that I'm getting behind this week.
You've provided us with a photo that we'll put up, and it is a harrowing photo, and it gives the clearest idea of just how grave this was, Tom. Is when you think back to it and when you're told and when you see that photo, which we'll only show the once, do you consider yourself lucky to be here?
Yeah, I do. I guess for me, the experience was pretty straightforward. I think it would have been a lot more harrowing for my family. I come off the grounds, went to hospital and was a bit groggy that night, and then woke up 6 or 7 days later after having a major surgery and a kidney removed, and not really knowing the extent of that I was touch and go there. So I'm sure it put a lot more stress on my family than me, but it's something that I've had to get past to continue playing footy.
Tom, why do you still play football? When you've had that sort of trauma and like you say, your family's been through that sort of pain with you, why do you choose to still persist with football? Is it just in your blood? Is it something that you just can't shake, you can't give up on? Because it hasn't changed your game at all.
Yeah, look, I suppose for me, I was only a 22-year-old kid that hadn't forged any AFL career at all. It was only my 7th game of AFL football, and if you spoke to Bomber, he'd tell you that I was probably on a knife's edge from being kicked out the door. So for me, that was a real moment, I suppose, in my life and in my footy career, that life and footy can be taken away from you at any point in time. So I had time to reflect after that and realised that being at a footy club such as Geelong was the best place for me to be, and they got me back fit and healthy, and then the decision was made to get back to football once I was rid of those mental demons, I guess.
Do you have to make a decision now to run back with the flight and put yourself in that situation again, or does it just happen on instinct?
Oh, look, I try to let guys with 2 kidneys do that as much as I can, like Harry Taylor and Corey Enright and these guys. But, I mean, there's occasions in a game where it just moves so quickly and you haven't got time to think, and you just, you have to go and try to help the team out, whatever way that is. And sometimes you get caught in situations you wouldn't like to be in, but that's the nature of the game. And, I've had to... I suppose get over that mental hurdle a long time ago if I was to continue to play this game, because it is a brutal game, and things like this can happen.
It would be pretty amazing, Tom, if the circle of life delivered you your first child 10 years on from this incident with your wife Kim expecting any day now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that just adds to the story a little bit, but really excited. She's due on Saturday, so hopefully she can wait until Sunday or Monday, and things will be very good. I get through the game unscathed, and we're all ready to go.
You've donated the jumper that you wore on the day to the hospital where your life was saved. Is that the case?
Yeah, I donated that just after the accident. I went in and stitched up with the Zadie rainbow laces, which is another, I guess, element to the story. We're wearing back in 2006, wearing the rainbow laces, and that's to create the awareness for organ and tissue donation. So I suppose me losing an organ adds another element. So I've donated that to the emergency wing that's been hanging up there for 10 years or so now.
And on the football front, one game to finish off before you launch a finals assault. You've got good experience in these things. How are you looking towards this September campaign?
Yeah, we're really excited about the upcoming weeks. Obviously, Lockie hurting his knee on Sunday wasn't a great result for us, but hopefully it's only minor and doesn't keep him out for too long. But otherwise, we're really healthy. We've got plenty of depth to choose from, and a lot of hungry guys have not played finals before. So we're really excited and can't wait for that to happen. But obviously we've got a very important game on Saturday against Melbourne, who have been playing some outstanding footy.
Tom, we commend you, we admire you, and we wish you all the best of luck with life and with football.
Good on you guys. Thanks very much.
Tom Lonergan with us from the Cats.
Madness, Jared. Madness running back with a flight like that.
Tomorrow night, retiring Lion Daniel Merritt ahead of his final game. Source, he'll be with us on 360. The truest guide of worth these days comes from Twitter, and on Wednesday nights, the most tweeted about moments from the previous weekends. The old no factor, Nick Nainui's knee injury, which cast a pall over Friday night footy.
No Leighton Hewitt there, Jared. No. Can't see anything from Leighton on that one.
Maybe he will have tweeted about number 2, which would have been very close to his heart as Eddie Betts snapped the winner. in the showdown. The oh yes moments.
Victor, Jake, no Leighton there, Jared.
Right. Well, what about the most tweeted about moment from the round? The oh dear moment. You don't want to get nutmegged on a football field to give up the winner.
Happens to us all.
Brings scorn from the Twitter sphere. And James Frawley felt that.
I like that.
But again,
just Frawley.
No Leighton
I like
Hewitt.
that. No Leighton Hewitt, Jared.
Tomorrow night, Daniel Merritt joins that lineup. Mac Horton, a gold medalist. What has Leighton Hewitt been tweeting about?
He's watching the show. I'm not sure he's watching the show because Robbo's not on, but he's watching.
Nice to have you with us. See you tomorrow night.
This has been a Fox Footy production, part of the Fox Sports Network.